Life has its ways of testing us, of throwing us into the darkest pits just to see how much we can endure. But there's one thing I've learned. Every struggle, every heartbreak, and every loss has something to teach us. In the end, we can either let it define us or we can rise above it. Today, I want to take you on a journey, a story of how I went from being broke and defeated to a boss of my own life. It's not just a story about money, but about finding strength, healing, and purpose. Along the way, you'll discover the hidden secrets that helped me turn everything around. It wasn't easy, but it was worth every tear and every hardship. I still remember the days when I felt invisible, lost in the world, with nothing to show for the hard work I put in. My name is Ryan Foster, and I was just another guy trying to make it in a world that never seemed to care. I had no savings, no job security, and no sense of direction. What I had were debts piling up, a heart full of regrets, and the weight of failure that seemed impossible to shake off. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that failure doesn't mean the end. It's often just the beginning of a journey you never expected to take. It all started with a loss. A few years ago, I lost my father, John. He had been my rock, my guide through life, and suddenly, he was gone. The funeral was like a blur. All I could think about was how much I'd taken for granted while he was alive. I never told him how much I appreciated his sacrifices, his endless support, and the way he always believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself. Now, standing at his grave, I realized something profound. I had been given a second chance, a chance to make something of myself in honor of him. The grief I felt was unbearable, but it also sparked a fire deep inside me. Grief has a way of showing you who you really are. At my lowest, I turned to my friends for comfort, but one of them, Mark, betrayed me in a way I couldn't have imagined. He was someone I'd trusted, someone I thought was a true friend. He went behind my back, taking advantage of my vulnerability, and it hurt more than I can describe. That was my breaking point. I felt heartbroken, lost, and alone. But I refused to let the pain control me. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, I started questioning everything I had believed about life and success. Was I really as powerless as I felt? Or could I find a way to rise again? As I sat in my apartment, I began to reflect on the choices I had made. There was so much I had failed at. Jobs, relationships, dreams that never came true. But one thing stood out. I had never truly believed in myself, and that was where I had gone wrong. It wasn't just about money or fame, it was about self-worth. I realized that to change my life, I had to start with my mindset. The first step wasn't glamorous. I started small. I gave up my old habits, staying up late, binge-watching shows, wasting time. I read books, watched motivational videos, and listened to podcasts about success, business, and personal growth. But the more I learned, the more I realized how much I had been ignoring my own talents. I had a passion for storytelling, a knack for connecting with people, but I had been too afraid to put myself out there. I took a leap of faith and decided to start a YouTube channel. At first, it was just a small hobby, but I poured my heart into every video. I shared my journey, my losses, my lessons, and the hard truth about success. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I was raw, vulnerable, and real. And slowly, people began to listen. But just as things were starting to pick up, life threw another curveball. I lost my job. It was a crushing blow, and for a moment, I doubted everything I had been working toward. But then, I thought about my father and the lessons he had taught me about resilience. I couldn't give up now, not after everything I had been through. It was during this time that I had a breakthrough. I found an old letter from my father, one that he had written to me before he passed away. It was full of advice, encouragement, and love. The most powerful part of the letter said, "Never let your circumstances define you, son. You are bigger than any setback." That letter hit me like a ton of bricks. It reminded me that I wasn't alone, that I had the strength to keep going, even when the odds seemed stacked against me. With renewed determination, I focused on building my brand. I started networking, reaching out to others in the business world, and learning everything I could about growing an online presence. I faced rejection, criticism, and doubt, but I kept pushing forward. I realized that the key to success wasn't avoiding failure. It was learning from it and using it to fuel your next move. Slowly, my YouTube channel grew, and so did my confidence. I wasn't just making videos anymore. I was building a community of people who believed in me and what I stood for. But success didn't come without its sacrifices. As I grew my business, I found myself spending less time with the people I loved. I had to make difficult choices, like missing family gatherings, or not being there for friends when they needed me. It hurt, but I knew that this was part of the price I had to pay. My dreams were coming true, but they came with a cost. One of the hardest moments was when I had to let go of a relationship that I thought would last forever. I loved her deeply, but I knew that I couldn't be the partner she needed while I was chasing my own dreams. It broke me, but it was the right choice for both of us. As time passed, I began to see the fruits of my labor. I was no longer broke. I was building a successful business, helping others through my content, and finally living a life that felt purposeful. But the journey didn't stop there. I still faced moments of loneliness, doubt, and fear. There were times when I felt like an imposter, wondering if I truly deserved the success I had earned. But then I would think back to all the pain, all the losses, and all the sacrifices, and I would remind myself, I earned this. I worked for this. And I wasn't going to let anyone or anything take it away. One evening, as I sat in my office reflecting on everything I had achieved, I came across an old photo of my father. It was a picture of him standing proudly with a big smile on his face, holding up a plaque for his years of service at his job. I couldn't help but cry. I had finally become the person he always knew I could be. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. I had gone from being broke, lost, and broken to being a boss. Not just in business, but in my own life. And while the road wasn't easy, every step of the journey taught me something invaluable. It taught me that no matter how dark the moment, there's always a way forward. There's always a chance to start over. And there's always a reason to keep going, even when you feel like giving up. Looking back, I realized that I would never have reached where I am today without all the pain, heartbreak, and loss. They shaped me, molded me, and pushed me to be the person I am now. And while I still face challenges, I know that I have the strength to overcome them. I hope that, through my story, you find the courage to face your own struggles and to believe in yourself. Because no matter where you start, you can always rise. You can go from broke to boss, just like I did.